So back out with RB and a test ride on this. It's a Honda CB125. Rappy little thing this is. So this came in and on the MOT failed on the rear wheel bearing. The rear wheel bearing was all over the place, and replaced the rear wheel bearing, and the customer's done about 450 miles and found that the bearing had destroyed itself inside the sprocket. Never seen that before. Obviously spoke to Honda. Oh, we've got an issue with the bearings. We've sent a certain batch of them back, sent us a new bearing, and within about 4 miles of the customer riding the bike, it destroyed the bearing again, which is really, really weird. Got the bike in, stripped the whole back end down, and in the course of that bearing failing, you have a very, very small sleeve in there, which is like a sprocket carrier shaft, and it basically looks like a dog's Kong toy. It's like a piece of tube with a couple of wider flanges on it. Now, unless you actually measure that with a micrometer, you can't actually tell how far worn that is. So what we've done, it's had a new bearing in it. It has had that new sprocket retaining shaft, and obviously the last thing we want is the customer to get this bike back and he's got another issue with it. So I have been riding this daily around about 5 miles. Just want to crack up as much mileage every morning as I can on this at a nice steady speed, and see if we can get that sprocket to wander around like it did last time. Now, I've checked this literally just before we got on and put the camera on. I have zero movement in that sprocket, so I am thinking happy days. But obviously the technician looked at it, I've looked at it, and when we compared the old one to the new one, there's not a lot of difference in that little carrier. There's very, very minimal amount of wear on it, but obviously when we actually tried one against the other, you can actually notice the difference. So if ever in doubt, get a damn micrometer on it. But hopefully all good, all well and true, and then let's just see how we get on with that. Now, obviously the other thing that we were considering has obviously the wearing of that bearing, because the bearing does sit nice and tight. We had to push fit that bearing in, so there's no actual wearing on the sprocket hub or the carrier as such. And we checked all the inside, there's no wear on the inside. But what would cause it to wear that quick on a bike? And we've been everywhere, we've been all round it with micrometers, verniers, checked it all over, we've checked all the bolts, this has had 3 separate mechanics all do the same bolt check and QC. Now, I've never known 3 mechanics do a QC and bolt check, but obviously want to be a bit finicky with this one. We want to check it out, make sure it's all good. And yours truly has been stuck on the test rides. Dave, if anything's going to come loose, you're the one to find out. Thanks very much, boys. Put me life in my hands. But as of yet, and I've been pulling over at every opportunity to obviously check that we've got no play at all on that sprocket or on the bearing on the back wheel. Now, normally I can feel if a back wheel is going to start to wander, or if I can feel that, I'd normally get this sort of reaction. So looking down, I'd get that. I'd be getting a wander on that front end or on the back end. But I've got nothing yet. One hand off, it's planted as hell, and I can normally feel it through the pegs as well. But absolutely nothing at the moment. What I have got coming up is a lay-by. So just before we come off at Granby in Milton Keynes, I have a nice trucker's lay-by. I'm going to pull in there, and I am going to do a visual check of that sprocket, just make sure we're all good, and then we're going to bomb down the other side of the dual carriageway. And obviously this bike has been running. It's got 17,000 miles on it, so I can go a lot faster, but I am sitting around about 45 to 50, just to obviously double check, because if something is going to come loose, I'd rather come off at a low speed than I would a high speed. Got all my biker gear on though, so I've got my garage jackets on today, and I have got my Nomex armour on. I haven't wore my Nomex armour since I came off the Honda 3 years ago. And if you are obviously thinking of bike protection, I always say decent thermal jacket. Oh, keep forgetting the indicators on this are in the wrong place. So coming in, and we're going to come in hard. I'm just going to push it around a bit and just see what we've got. But yeah, all good. Just coming down through the box, up into neutral, and pop this over. And what we're going to do, going to get this on the side stand. I'm going to get this on video because I just want to double check that that sprocket is still absolutely, and as you can see, I've got no movement at all from that hub carrier or cush bearings. Great, let's do the other half of the run. So there was about an inch play in it last time. Ooh, she's brappy. So obviously this is for the purpose of the customer to view. One thing I do like about these little Hondas, they don't half get up to speed quick. Especially with that exhaust on it, that nice powerful exhaust. Love it. Shoulder check, move lanes. So, happy days so far. We'll do another quick visual check when we get back to the garage. But all good so far. So obviously we think we've resolved the issue, but obviously that's been across 3 separate mechanics, 3 separate QCs, 3 separate PDIs, absolutely checked this one to the hilt. The last thing we want is the customer coming back saying, it's gone again. I think it's been resolved though. Just that little bit of play in that little shaft that goes inside the sprocket carrier. Obviously he's had all his cush drives changed on this as well. We've done a full bearing set on this one. Go on. Jump the red. Do like red light jumpers. Obviously rides a bicycle in his spare time then. Can't accuse him of being a white van man. That was a yellow. I went for on a yellow. Don't complain on the video that that was a red. It wasn't. It was a yellow. It didn't change to red till I was about 30 foot into it. Yeah, bike's handling fine. Leans over well. Back on the power we go. Keep forgetting it's a 5-speed, not a 6-speed. So 50 mile an hour now. We're going to start up in the mileage on this, or up in the speed. Obviously being a running bike I can take it a little bit higher. Now riding this as the customer would, not as if I'd stole it. We're sitting at a nice steady 55, still nothing from that back end, and I normally feel a bit of skitter if it was starting to wander on the chain. Chain tension was good, sprocket nice and solid, not moving. And we've racked up a load of miles now, which is good for me. I'm looking to put about 8 on it today. And obviously give us a full ride test if the customer's going to backwards and forwards to work on a daily. And then while I'm ride testing, I'm just checking the braking, the handling, performance of the bike. Front brake's good, rear brake's pulling down nicely. Ooh, she's a brappy little thing. As I say, loud pipes save lives. And then you can see what I mean about, this is such an awkward roundabout. You have to look back over your shoulder. Cars scoot under that tunnel really, really quick. Just checking out that car, it's just scooted over my shoulder. Leans well for a little 125. All the gear, no idea. Be nice if you knew where that little button was that makes those indicators flash. Thank you very much. Spatial awareness again, guys. Watching the traffic in front, and I tend to watch 4 or 5 cars in front, and I tend to leave quite a nice big space cushion, which gives me a braking distance, but it also means that idiot car drivers like to jump the gap. Let's cut people up on the roundabout. Don't you just love it? Back off we go. Another high-speed run. Just obviously put that chain under tension. See if I can make the back end do anything. And I've got nothing off the rear end of this at all. Happy days. Time to head back to the garage then. Let's call the customer before it starts to rain. Make a run for home before I get absolutely soaked. And yeah, I was saying as I went down dual carriageway before we pulled in, Textiles is great bike protection. Obviously full set of levers, you can't beat full set of levers, but on a 125 scooter you're going to look a bit of a Burke on a full set of levers. Textile jacket, textile trousers always works well. If you can't afford that, a decent pair of Kevlar jeans, around about 35 quid for a decent set of Kevies. I've got a pair on today. I tend to ride most of the bikes that I ride in my Kevlars. Pair of jeans, Kevlar lining on them, just that extra bit of skin abrasion protection. And if I happen to be in my jacket, then I've got a basically what's called a Nomex bodysuit, and it's basically like the police flak jacket. Got Kevlar back plates, side plates, shoulders. The only thing it's not going to protect is my arms. If I go down, you know, I've just got my jacket on over my arms, but I've got a decent set of gloves on. But most of the stuff you want to get protected is the ribs and all your internal organs. Broken arms can heal, and obviously hence why I wear 2 bike jackets, 2 garage jackets. But Nomex armour, very, very good. Check it out. Or any good motocross armour under your clothes. It is better than no protection at all. Heading back to the garage, what I am going to do is pull up on the forecourt. We're going to do a quick visual check before I sign off. Just make sure everything is a-okay. If so, end the video there, call the customer, happy days. And obviously this video we're just going to put it up so you can see that the bike has been ridden correctly, but there is no play in any of them components that we have changed on the back end second time round. And it also gives me a quick time to mention what we got on the yard as well. You're not going to park across there, are you? No. Right, so we're going to pull up. Quick visual check. See what's going on. Down into neutral we go. Drop that side stand down. Leave the engine running for the second. And the final visual check. That is absolutely rock solid. That is not going to move anywhere. All looks good, and no heat from that, so quick touch of the fingers, dirty hands, but that's nice and cold down there. There is no heat coming at all from that bearing. I'm happy with that. To call the customer and let him release. What we would do now is tell the customer that he needs to do what's called a ride cycle, check the bike out and ride it over the course of 3 to 4 days and report back if he's got any issues. But happy that that is all fixed and ready to go. Just before we sign out, get an eyeball of this. That's just come in. It's up for sale with Eclipse Yamaha VMAX. That's 1200 V twin. So check that one out. Ninja's already sold. Sorry guys, but we've still got a good used selection of bikes and cars. So I'll be signing out, and until the next time, as always guys, have a good weekend, and it's a big goodbye from me.